Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, Lone Wolf 902. Today's video topic is going to be the OneTigris Iron Wall hot tent. So as you can see, I've already got it set up here. I got the door pinned back. Now before I get into the video, I want to talk about a couple key features really. I've been getting a lot of questions on my Instagram and YouTube and Facebook about what are the differences between this tent and the OneTigris Smoky Hut. Right off the bat, the door. The door, I'll get out of the way a little bit here so you guys can actually see. Maybe I'll go inside. This door is a D-shaped door, meaning the zipper stops right here. In the Smoky Hut, the zipper actually goes all the way up underneath of the vent. It goes all the way up inside. Now, what that means is, if you've got two people in here, and let's say one person's sleeping on this side and the other person's sleeping on the other side, when you unzip this door, picture looking down on a big circle and like a cake. Picture a cake. You take one triangle out of the cake, you're left with that triangle. So when it's snowing or raining, you're going to have that big triangle of rain. So that's the main difference. This, I believe, this is built mainly for winter and raining. Works excellent for it. I just had this out not that long ago in a really wet, heavy snowstorm with a bunch of friends. Had the Smoky Hut out there as well, and I'll link that video at the end of this video so you guys can see how they performed. They were both awesome, awesome. But I will say, I do favor this door design more than the Smoky Hut in wet and snowy weather. Now, if you're in summer or spring, Smoky Hut all the way, because you can open both doors, get loads of ventilation in, loads of air, kick back and have a really big view. This door is more narrow, so you don't really have a huge view, but I can sit back over in this area while it's raining, like it's raining right now, and have my wood stove off to the side, and I could actually stay dry with the door open. So that's the main difference. Other than the mesh inner, this one does come with a mesh inner, half a mesh inner, and I believe it's about 4 inches shorter, because when I put both of the center poles side by side, one is significantly shorter. So as far as footprint, I believe they're both the same diameter, but like I said, a little bit shorter. So give you guys a couple close-up shots of what we got going on with the tent. I did install all of the guy lines around the sides of the tent. You can see I got red guy lines. These are not the guy lines that came with the tent. The tent did come with some guy lines, but it didn't come with enough. I believe it came with maybe 5 or 6. I went ahead and replaced them with bright red ones on little carabiners so I can click on to my tent. I can move them from this tent to the Smoky Hut. I can move them from the Smoky Hut to a tarp setup. That's just how I do my guy lines. I like removing them, putting them on different pieces of gear. So I do have them all tied out right now, nice and tight, real sturdy. This door has a little bit of sag to it because it's not closed. Once it closes, it really pulls tight. But yeah, I'll give you guys a look at the stove jack area. All right, so here is the stove opening area. Now, like in my Smoky Hut video, this is the same grade jack that does not come with the tent. You got a little flap here, the opening, pipe comes through. The tents do not come with an actual jack. They come with this flap that is rolled up that velcros shut. So if you do wish to run a stove inside of this tent, you need to either make one of these, like I have here, or purchase one from a different company online, do a little bit of shopping. It's kind of the downfall with these tents, but not adding the stove jack does reduce the price of the tents. So they are a budget tent, and a lot of people buy them because of the price, and they're just excellent quality. Excellent. So the placement on this tent is different than the Smoky Hut. You'll notice that, like I said, the door is a D-shaped door. In the Smoky Hut, technically this panel would be the other half of the door. So you can't put a stove jack in a door. So with the Smoky Hut, this opening is actually over here on the side of the tent. This one's moved more to the front. So it does offer a completely different sleeping setup if you're running one person or two people with the mesh or without the mesh. So give you guys a look at that real quick and simple. Okay, so got the mesh inner installed. You guys can kind of see where it's situated. The zipper runs down the center pole and then off to the side. Loads of room from the door of the actual outer to the mesh inner. So you do have plenty of room. Now the stove does go here, which is the only downside to the shelter that I can find. The stove is right in front of the zipper to the mesh inner. It makes it difficult to get in and out of the mesh inner with the stove so close. What I would really like to see, and I may modify mine to do this, I would like to run a zipper going the other way. So then you'll have two zippers on the bottom that you could split and then zip the center up, or leave either bottom zip closed. So if I wanted to gain access to the mesh inner right now, the only way for me to do that is to go to the right side of the pole. Now, like I said, if there was a zipper on the bottom going left or right, I could unzip the left and I could gain access to the left side of the pole, because the stove can only go on the right side. So that's the only design flaw that I see with this. Now, many will argue, why would you want the mesh inner in there with a stove? Because the mesh inner is kind of for bugs, and the stove is when it's winter and the bugs are all gone. There is that shoulder season of fall where there are bugs and it is cold. So take it for what it's worth, but I would like to see a zipper on the bottom going the opposite way. The Iron Wall tent does feature two of these vents up here, and they have that actual little Velcro kickstand, so I can completely shut that vent and the vent on the other side. There's two of them, like I said. You can actually shut the entire vent or open the vent. Right now I've got them open, and it allows a lot of smoke to get out of the shelter if you're running a stove inside. It also allows for greater ventilation, and it allows for heat loss. So if you're in there and it gets hot with the wood stove, which trust me, they get hot, you leave these open and some of that excess heat while you're cooking and you want that real hot heat can actually exit the tent, and it's a little bit more manageable to live in. So you got two of these guys. They are screened so no bugs can get in, and I think they're a great addition to this tent, having the actual kickstand flap. The Smoky Hut does not have that little kickstand. You often take a little stick on the ground and maybe pop it in there to hold it open. It does have a built-in kind of piece of plastic, I believe, is inside of there, like bendable plastic, that holds it open, but over time it kind of loses its form. So this tent, very different. It does have the kickstand arm, like I said, and they work very well. So give you guys another side comparison of the other side of the tent. Like I said in my Smoky Hut review video, I am 5'7", and here I am standing in the doorway, so you guys can kind of get a good look at height to see where it sits. This is the other vent on the other side, like I was describing. Here's the little kickstand arm I was telling you about. So if I wanted to shut the vent, I can actually shut it and Velcro it flat like that, or open it and pop out the little kickstand arm to allow air to get in and heat and smoke to get out. So here's a couple more little guy out points. They go all the way around the tent. Very, very nice. And all the construction of this tent is very, very good, just like the Smoky Hut. One thing I will say, I love this color. I also love the Smoky Hut, but I love this green. When you're back far away, you can actually blend into your surroundings a little bit, so it's not as bam, it doesn't pop as much. It blends a little bit more. So other than that, this is the OneTigris Iron Wall. Not a whole lot more to say about it. It basically does the same thing as the Smoky Hut, with the differences being what I covered, kind of going around the tent with the mesh inner, different stove placement, different door, a couple small variations here and there. They're basically the same tent other than those differences. I mean, there's not a whole lot more to say or show. This particular tent is a little dirty. You can see that there's quite a bit of soot and ash down here. When I went out on my snow camping video, the snow kind of piled up, and with the ash from the chimneys kind of settled and whatnot. But it's a very, very nice color, and I do like it. All right, so sitting in the mesh inner right now. My feet are basically right where the stove would go once I get that set up. I do have a stove here, by the way. I'm not gonna run the chimney through, but I'll put the stove on the ground to show you kind of where it sits, and you guys can kind of have an idea of that. So I'm in the mesh inner right now. It's big. I'm not gonna lie. It is big, and it's very, very nice. So behind me, it's got that kind of pyramid shape. Well, not pyramid shape, but hexagonal shape. It has that point. So when you're laying down inside, you have a massive amount of room behind you to store your cell phone, your knife, your headlamp, your backpack. Your entire pack could fit in there to keep it out of this area if you really wanted to. Change of clothes, all kinds of things can fit over there inside of the meshed area. And you go ahead and zip it shut, or you can zip it open, leave it open, doesn't matter. Very, very nice. It's great fabric. It is great fabric. It features YKK zippers, just like the outside zipper. So you got a lot of good things going on with this tent. It is ripstop nylon like the Smoky Hut. As the mesh inner is also a ripstop nylon. It's a great tent. It is. I really do like it. And I gotta say, I prefer this over the Smoky Hut if I were asked. I mean, I know I say I like them both, and I do love them both. But for me, I winter camp a lot, and I personally prefer this tent because of the door design over the Smoky Hut. But like I said, they're both great. It's what you want, what you're doing, what you want to do on your camping trip. So I'll go ahead and I'll grab my little ammo can stove off camera, and I'll pop it in here to show you the placement of where it would be. And hopefully that'll help you guys kind of figure out how big of a stove and how close it is to the mesh, if you want to run the mesh. All right, so here you can see we got the ammo can DIY project wood stove in here. It's directly underneath of the hole where the chimney would pop out. Got about a foot and a half. Yeah, I'd say about a foot and a half of room from the side of the stove to the side of the mesh inner. And it's kind of positioned centrally. Now, like I said, it's going to depend on where your stovepipe is on your stove and how long your stove is, because this is about 16 inches long. If you had an 18 or 24 inch long stove, your door would be out to here. It would be increasingly difficult to get in with the mesh inner. Now, you could spin your stove like this and still have the hole going out, and then your door would be back there, which would be a great option. I'm not going to do that because when I open my door, I don't want all that heat blasting at the mesh inner and possibly popping my sleeping pad. Now, once it starts getting frigid cold and the bugs are completely gone, no mosquitoes, no ticks, then the mesh inner is kind of, you don't really need it. So then you have the option of spinning your stove to point the door where you need it. But for this demonstrational video, you got to see the mesh inner, right? So we got the mesh inner in here today, and it's still manageable. Now, I've camped in this tent with this stove with the mesh inner installed, and I'll link that video at the end of this video, as well as my Smoky Hut review, like I've already mentioned. And I didn't really have any problem getting around the stove to crawl in. So it's a little finicky. Get these leaves out of here. It's a little finicky, but if you're careful, you can kind of squeeze around your stove and sit in. Now, once you're in the mesh inner, you've got all this room back here to move around. And you can pile all your firewood behind the stove. There's about 3-4 feet of space behind the stove. So you can unzip, grab some wood, open the door, put it in like I have on camping trips. And it is a great spot to sit. If I'm sitting here, I can put my pot and make coffee and get all that heat soaking right in my legs and really take on some heat. This is the reason why I want a zipper along the bottom. Is you can see how it's not difficult, it's just it's not practical to get in and out. So if there were, move my legs out of the way, if there was a zipper like this one going that way, I could have went around and got in. And then when I need to feed the stove, I can either feed it from that side of the center pole, or I can unzip this side like I am now and reach over and feed the stove that way. So my thoughts, it really does need a zipper on the bottom going that way and this way, so you can gain access to either side. But it's something that I've learned to work around, and it doesn't really, it's not really a make or break for me. So just a little piece of information to know if you are looking at this tent. All right, so that's pretty much all I've got for you guys on the OneTigris Iron Wall tent. It's pretty much like the Smoky Hut, and I keep going back to that because they are basically the same tent. It does have the rubberized zipper. I don't think I mentioned that. So it does have a rubberized zipper underneath of this flap. Like I said, the zipper is basically bomb-proof. You're not going to get any water, you're not going to get any snow in there. It's got this overlapping flap that comes down about 2.5 inches over the rubberized zipper, so you're golden with that. Not a whole lot else to say. Kind of a shorter video and a less informative video on the iron wall, because it's just, I've mentioned it in the Smoky Hut video. If you go back and watch that, and I do suggest you go and watch that, and you'll see the differences between the two. So other than that, I don't really have much else to say. Great tent, good job OneTigris. Also Black Orca, same company. Great job, awesome tent, love it. I'm going to be using this for many camping trips to come. Looking forward to sleeping in here in the wintertime, so that'll be fun. Be able to get the wood stove crank in and kind of have some snowfall and relax and enjoy it. So that's all I got for you guys. Hopefully you guys will jump on the other videos like I was saying and have a look at how it performs in the snow. I've had it out in pouring rain, excellent. I've had it in wind, excellent. So any other questions that I didn't cover and I don't happen to have it in the Smoky Hut review, I know it's kind of a messed up situation with this video. I don't really have a lot of time, but if there's anything that I don't cover in this video and I did not cover in the Smoky Hut review video, please drop it down in the comment section. Get your questions to me and ask them, and I'll get back to you on that. So great tent, 2 thumbs up, Lone Wolf approved. Going to be using this a lot. So peace out, guys. I'll catch you guys in the next video.